Before we get those other 8 pieces, though, there is something that I completely forgot to do, and that is to see that LT cabinets. They're in Kalis' bedroom. Even though I mentioned that earlier, I can't believe I forgot about it. But it's probably a good thing that we waited until now, because there's a clue inside there that we're going to need for the puzzle we're going to be taking on next. So let's head that way. Thankfully it's just right over here, which helps. It's funny, every time I go into this room, yeah, the game always loads right there when I put my cursor there. Like, there's certain points where it just does that. Alright, so let's go this way. Take a short little trip over here. And I believe the combination is these dots on the L and these dots on the T. There we go. Not much in here, but we do have a piece of paper with a 10 by 10 grid with zeros in these corners, nines in these corners, and B, 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 D, 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 A, 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 C, 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 and E, E, E. Alright. Well, we'll have to figure out what that's for here. Hopefully soon. But now, I want to turn our attention to that first door in the 9-door room. Since that's really the only place that we haven't explored all that much. I mean, I guess we haven't explored across the bridge, turned the other way here in the rotating bridge area, but I happen to know that we can't really do much there at the moment, so I'm going to go ahead and just go this way for now. At least I don't think we can do much there at the moment, if memory serves correctly. Alright, 4, 5, 1. That's not too bad. Alright. So we already investigated this little thingy here to our right. This cabinet here with the circle things and these, I guess these are like lights or something. So we continue forward, we get a door. And another barred window. We can't really get in there though, so our only option seems to be through here. And we got some pads. We can mouse over them and get numbers we can change around. It looks like all 5 of them feed into this box, which, yeah, that probably has something to do with opening that up. So we're going to have to figure out the combination of that. Can we see much from here? Sorta. We can see a bridge here to this building. This seems to be the building where that barred window is, so I guess in order to get there we're going to have to go through here. That is, if this is the same room that this leads into. Alright. Ooh, we got a tram car. There's a purple button there. But it doesn't look like we can get to that button from inside. Also doesn't seem like this is working. I guess this is like the key or something. Anyway, there's another path here, so I guess this is the only other place we can go right now. Okay, so random thought. Doesn't this box kind of thing remind you of the, like, the log cart entrance in Riven? It kind of reminds me of that, at least. All stony and boxy. But instead of a log cart, we get a nice green tunnel. And a reservoir, it looks like. Interesting. There's a tower here in the middle. It sounded like something came down. Is this an elevator? Let's look around. Ooh. Let me take a picture of that. We have another 10 by 10 grid here, and you'll notice that the zeros and 9s in the corner align with what we see over in this thing. See right here? So maybe we need to make some connections between the numbers that appear in these lettered spots. Worth a shot, at least. The numbers that appear in these slots are 0, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0, 1, 2, 3 again, 1, 0, 1, 2, and 7, 6, 5, 4. Let's see, anything on this side? There's a map of the area here. We are pointed north, and if you've been keeping track of directions, the spot where this train car is here on this diagram is actually where the train car is right now, in the south area. We can see these circles here indicate junctions of a sort that go throughout the circular track and go off to the sides in each of the cardinal directions. And this takes us up. Alright. So what do we got here? A broken bridge, it seems like. Hey, this kind of reminds me of that thing in RHEM 2, there in the elevator cavern. Remember the little stick figure warning signs? Aha! That looks like something we'll need. Okay. So what else have we got here? We got a control panel where we can set numbers and letters, apparently. Well, we can go from A to E, and it seems like we can set a number for each letter. Well, we have numbers and letters that we've already come up with here using these two grid things, but we don't really know exactly how to connect them with each of the doors, do we? Well, we're going to have to figure out a way to determine how that works. So, it looks like our next stop is going to have to be the rail car again, since, yeah, none of these are going to open. So let's go back there. We just have to find a way to make a connection between the doors and the letter number combinations that we know. Also, this area is an area that we're going to be seeing quite a bit throughout the rest of the game, because we're going to be coming back here a lot. So, get used to this spot. It's kind of like the 4-story building from the previous game. Alright, let's put the key in the slot, or the amulet as the game calls it. I guess it kind of looks like an amulet. Well, I guess we can't go forward since, you know, there's a wall. Thankfully we can go back though. Alright, so we turned like 90 degrees or so, and noticed that there's a wall in front of us. Now, earlier we noticed that there were junctions on that map, so it looks like we came from the south junction, which we had seen, and we're now on the circular portion of the track. If we were to try to go forward, we would just end up back at that station again, so let's go backward. I'm just telling you guys that to save time. Sorry about all this lag, by the way. I don't know what's going on here, but it is kind of a little annoying. Alright, so, oh, wait a minute. I forgot to see if we can get off here at this point. My bad. I was so busy talking about this thing. Alright, cool, we can get off. Okay, so we can see a few things from here. One of them is that we can see the main tower that we were in earlier, or at least the upper level of it here with the broken bridge portion. We can see another path leading out from this door, and it has a ladder going down, which might be worth investigating as well. And it looks like we're on the other side of that door from earlier. Oh. We put our hand here on it, and we can see an image of the grid. And interestingly enough, these squares, these contiguous squares, go through portions of the grid that have all of the letters. For instance, this square here is one of the C's, this is an A, this is an E, and then this is a B, and this is a D. Interesting. So, if this is the case, then we now know that this door is connected with these squares, and we know that those particular squares have letter and number values assigned to them. So we just need to keep track of this via compass directions. Now here's the tricky thing about this. This is kind of the opposite of the challenge earlier in the wire room, or the power room, where we had to look at those wires. Because in that room, we were going by what direction we were facing when we saw the wires. But here we can't go by what direction we're facing when we see these squares. We're going by what direction we're facing when we're inside. So, for instance, this door is the south door, even though we're facing north. So, we're just going to call this door south. And it is connected with what's on the other side of it, and not the door on the opposite end. So, at this point, let's just move backward and just keep doing this. Alright, so this one right here is a little bit trickier, because you'll notice that the previous pattern had the corners in it, so we had a pretty good idea of where it was. But this piece doesn't really have any corners. Well, there is one point of reference that we can go by, and that is this little bit here. You might remember that the last piece had a little fork that went off like right at this point. So if that's the case, then this piece also is around the upper left as well. So this right here would be a B, this is a D, this is a C, this is an A, and this down here is another E. So this door will be the east door. Again, even though we're facing west, we're going by the direction we're facing as we're standing here, which is east. Alright, let's go backwards again. Oh, wait a minute. No. Before we do that, you have to see this. There's a ladder down here. I even pointed out it earlier. This is kind of becoming a regular thing for this Let's Play. Forgetting about things I talk about. Well, we have another door here. I guess this is the door that corresponds with a broken bridge. Which would make sense because we are facing west. And that is the direction that the broken bridge goes from the tower. Oh, hey, there's also a little stick guy here. Now, this is the symbol for west, this thing up here. And if we were to go and experiment with this, we can come up with all sorts of combinations. And this is the stick figure that happened to be on that panel over there. So I'm going to keep it at that. Let's see if that does anything. No, we probably have to set this too. We don't really have a square formation for that area yet, though. Alright, so let's go back. Alright, so now we are on the north door. Now this one is also kind of a little awkward too. You kind of need the other one on the, I guess it's the west side, to really make this work. And really get a clear picture of where this is, because this is not exactly very easy to determine. But I'll go ahead and just mention where the letters are. This is B, D, C, A, and E. I guess you could kind of logically figure that out based on where the various letters are on the grid. Even if you didn't have the west side, but still. It is really hard if you don't have that information. Alright, there is one area left that we haven't been to yet, and it's the other side of the broken bridge on the west side. We have another stick figure here. We're facing east at the moment. And this guy has his hands up and legs slightly apart. Not quite as much as the other dude. We also can't move that either, sadly. Alright, let's go down here. Back into this cave again. And here we go. We can see the other side of the door. And the last piece. So, this is the other piece that you really want to have in order to get the north one right, because you remember the north one kind of went here and did this thing and went down there, and then it went to the left there. So having this piece really helps with that, since it has that outer shell to give it more context. So the letters here are A, B, and then D, C, and E. So that should be enough to get us past the doors in the tower. And here we can set the stick figure to this one that we've just saw, like that. Again, the door doesn't open because we need to enter the code on the other side, so we'll do that here later. But for now, we need to go back inside the tower. So let's take care of that. In order to do that, though, we had to go all the way back to the station in the south side, since that's the only one that's really open to us, and we really can't get into the tower from any other door right now. We could theoretically open the west door, but it's not really going to lead us into the tower. It's just going to connect us over to that other side of the broken bridge from the east side, where the ladder is. I wish the game... Yeah, I'm really sorry about this. I don't know what's behind this. Like, lately it's been doing that even when I'm not recording. Okay. So now that we're back here, let's go ahead and head back inside, and we'll take care of this. I hope the solution to this puzzle makes some amount of sense. It is one of those things where you really have to combine information in a way that may not be immediately intuitive at first, but once you get the idea, it's not too bad. The other thing that we can do, although I'm not going to do it yet since we really don't need to do it until later on, is we can actually go and move the train car out here and then go back over there to the south side via this elevator once we get all these doors open, and then press that purple button. But like I said, we don't really need to worry about that at the moment. Alright, so let's start off with the north door. This one is the one that has B in the 3 position, C in the 0 position, D in the 4 position, E in the 6 position, and A is at the 2 position. Alright, we got it open. Alright, so let's move on to the east side. Let's see, the east side had... Ooh, let's see, which one was that? Okay, that one was the one that had A as 1, so we're going to have to go all the way around the horn for this one. B is also 1. I shouldn't have messed around with this door earlier. Why did I do that? And then C is also 1. Yay, I didn't have to go all the way around. D is 3, and then finally E is 7, which I think is the highest we ever go with these numbers. Alright, and there we are. And so here we have the south door, which is the one that went all the way around the edges of the board except for the southeast. So for this one, we have 3 in the A slot, or A in the 3 slot, I should say. B in the 0 slot. C in the 2 slot. Then D in the 6 slot. And then E in the 5 slot. And voila! So let me just show you what you can do here when you go across to one of the doors from this side without the train car. We can open this, and we get the ability to switch the track, which is pretty cool. Now, at this point, what I've done is I've cut off this portion of the track that leads into the station from everything else. So if we were to go in the rail car, we would not actually be able to go back in here. So I'm going to leave that be for now until we can get it here into the circular railway. Because ultimately, even though this is the south station, there are similar junctions on the other ones too, which we saw in that diagram down below. So that means that there are 3 other areas here of RHEM that we have not seen yet. So I'm not going to really fool with that right now until we get the car out here though, and I'll explain how we're going to do that here in a minute. But for now, I want to go over here and take care of the one down in this area. So the stick figures should be set to the correct configurations. So for the west side, all we need to do is go with A as 0, B as 2, C as 1, D as 5, and E as 4. And there we go. Thankfully, I don't believe... Yeah, we can access this here. We're not trapped if we go there. Okay, so that's pretty much all the doors we need to open. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the car around. And I'm going to park it over here. And I'm going to pick one of these other areas to go to first. And I think the one I'm going to go with is this north path. There happens to be a lot of stuff there that we need to do, so I'm going to go ahead and select that option first. And yes, we're going to have to do this little exercise of having to switch these tracks every time we want to go to a new area. And part of the issue with this is that you really have to be careful about it because you have to make sure that the car can go around effectively. And you can only get on one of those paths that leads to a side station in one of the cardinal directions while going clockwise. So you really have to be careful with this. I mean, there's no way you can technically mess it up or anything. It's just, if you do make a mistake, you really have to undo everything and start all over, basically. I mean, not all over, because you don't need to open all the doors again, but you know what I mean. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to park this over here on the east side. And I'm going to go ahead and go here to the north side. Well, first of all, I need to go to the south side because, remember, because we need to approach the north side going clockwise, we're going to have to go through the south station. So that means that I'm going to have to switch this track like that. So right now, if we were just to get back in the train car and go around, we'll just go around in circles over and over and over again. It's a closed loop at this point. But what we really want is to have this track go up north, like that. So let's go back into the car and go all the way around. I think the other thing that's kind of a little tedious about this is that you've had to go through all of the animations for going around and all that. I don't think you can skip them. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah, I guess pressing space just goes to the inventory. Well, no, it suddenly stopped. Well, I'm not going to do that. That's kind of a little bit annoying. So at this point, we should be getting to the west station, if I'm not mistaken, because we should be able to see the broken bridge from out here. Or wait, is this the southern one? I guess it is. Huh, I guess pressing space would just return me back to the station even though the animation started. That's really weird. Okay. So at this point we are at the west station now. Let's just verify to make sure. Yep, okay, good. So we can just go up here to the north station, and then if we did everything correctly, we should be able to just turn right off. Alright. There we go. And we get to some pretty cool stone walls. I mean, look at that bridge. It's pretty sweet. Ooh, and somebody installed a nice little picket fence here.